Now, I think it has become universally known at this point in time by everyone around the globe that Snow White 2024 is really all about Disney pushing an agenda above all storytelling and character development and really ditching the source material, quite frankly, on purpose in order to really move their message along with Snow White the live-action remake. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, one major thing happening right now with Snow White is that not only are they fully embracing a lot of re-edits, that's basically a part of their Plan A. Plan B is to actually do some reshoots, and that is only going to happen, we talked about this, if and only if the SAG strike comes to a close by November 1. So they're really banking on that to make some drastic changes behind the scenes for many of the sequences involving the 7 magical creatures, the huntsman, and even elements of the third act of the film. We'll talk more about that later. Now, what's interesting about this is writer Greta Gerwig. Alright, if you thought director Mark Webb was bad about what he said about this movie, well, strap in your seatbelts and get along for the ride, because this is where things get even more serious for Snow White. Now, we know that Greta Gerwig is all about pushing an agenda. I mean, it's all nonsense. It's always to be expected. She's really a part of the Holly Weird group, and when you look at everything related to her work, this is the same exact thing that will go as follows for Snow White. Now, we know that Greta and Erin worked on this movie, alright? Erin Wilson was the co-writer, Greta Gerwig was the main writer. Now, specifically, with Snow White 24 going under many major revisions by director Mark Webb, one major development has to do with Snow White writer Greta Gerwig and what she had to deliver to the general public by stating the following. I feel we needed to do a reimagining for this tale. It was the only way to make this story work, and it was a privilege to work with Rachel and the rest of the cast and the crew. I would be lying if I said I did not notice backlash against this film, and I agree with Mark Webb that that is nothing more than a small minority that we really don't think about too much. I think many times you are going to get angry men who feel the need to defend their status in this world when the roles are reversed. Yes, Snow White will not be saved by the prince in this film. We are doing that with a different take, and to the naysayers about this approach, all I can say is, so what? This is a girl's tale and a story that is not meant to focus on the patriarchy. We wanted to create a story that would elevate women, that would give them power and to rise and become a leader, just like Snow White and her late father told her that she could become. That's what this Snow White tale is all about. We wanted to make this film cater to all audiences, and not just younger ones. We wanted to shift gears and focus on adults too. So let me just stop here quick about what Greta Gerwig is saying before I get to the next big piece that she really elaborates on. The fact that she is so focused on really just taking down all of people that are really going against this movie, that are criticizing it before it has even released, and rightfully so, by the way. We all have those valid reasons to back up our overall thoughts about this film. She really is talking down the majority, and yes, I say the majority. She likes to say the minority. Mark Webb likes to say the minority. Most do not like this movie the way that things are going through with. The way that it's being presented, the agendas that are being thrown in your face with this film. Nobody is approving this garbage. In fact, a lot of families out there are already boycotting Snow White 2024. It's not only going to cost them the movie, it's also going to cost them park attendees. There's no doubt about that. I know a lot of people in my social circle and in their social circles that have gone to Disney over the years that are no longer fully supporting them at all after what they did with Little Mermaid, with Star Wars, with Marvel, and now with Snow White, the live-action remake. And again, look, she's really focusing on the whole angry men side of the story, where in reality, it's all about defending pop culture. That's what it really boils down to. Like myself here, I'm all about defending pop culture and where it stands and where it deserves to be placed in history, and how people out there, companies, studios, etc., like Disney, of all, at the top of the list, like to really just destroy that down to the very foundation. Now, interestingly enough, Greta Gerwig goes on to elaborate things further by stating the following. Now, many keep asking me why I chose this story, and to be quite frank, the story needed improvement and change. And to those that have an issue with that, they can make as much noise as they want. It's not going to change what we feel and believe is right to be told in the modern world that we live in today. Like Rachel said, it's not 1937 anymore. We wanted to focus on a new way of storytelling for how women are written in film. Not that this movie will be based in modern times, but we are focusing on the modern female in this film. And this is an excellent one. Myself and Erin worked hard on this story, and Mark Webb was a pleasure to work with. I think we are just dealing with the same childish response Disney got with the Little Mermaid remake. Some people just can't handle change, and sometimes you need to trick your audience in order to really make them accept what needs to be told in a modern view. Gee, have we not heard that before about tricking your audience? Do you guys remember what they did with The Last of Us? Anyway, that's a subject for another time, but what's interesting about this is exactly how Greta Gerwig is getting so defensive to the point where it's almost coming across as, malicious. You think you can really say that it's a minority? I think that she is obviously lying. She full-fledged knows that it's a majority. She knows that this movie's in trouble. I think that this is exactly why she's getting so defensive over Snow White, because not just related to Rachel Zegler, but also related to the 7 magical creatures. And also, don't you guys kind of find it funny that she does not even mention the 7 magical creatures or the dwarfs, whatever have you? They are really trying to keep that, pretty much at the bottom of the list of mentioning anything about Snow White, because they know that the backlash surrounding the 7 dwarfs is a lot more severe than Rachel Zegler being cast as Snow White and ditching the source material altogether. I think that, yes, the 7 magical creatures is at the top of the list of Disney's concern for this movie, and if they do eventually embrace reshoots, if the SAG strike comes to a close by November 1, they have a short number of months to change things around, they're not going to be able to fix anything, no matter what they do. It's either you cut them out completely, or you just cancel this movie altogether. That's about the only 2 things that you could do to improve your image, or save whatever's left of it. And you know what? At the end of the day, Disney is in a downward spiral. They are a sinking ship. It's exactly why I said, I don't know why actress Jenna Ortega is pursuing the Pirates of the Caribbean reboot with Disney. She literally wants to walk on, a sinking company that is just not working, that's losing money every single year based on bad decisions and bad leadership skills by Bob Iger, and it's not going to stop there, So I would like to hear what you guys have to say about Greta Gerwig, the writer of Barbie and Snow White. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.